think you're live.
You think I'm live? Or did you hit the live button?
Yeah, you're live.
Oh, shoot! Alright, so how are we doing this? What are we actually talking about?
I'm about to just read the questions that come in.
We didn't do the super chat. We were supposed to do the super chat.
What do you mean?
To answer the questions.
Well, we're about to get some new questions, so.
What a dick. Did I say that out loud? Hey guys, what's happening? I'm here in beautiful Eberval. If you've never been here, you gotta come. This place is booming and thriving with civilization. There's so much population here. It's absolutely incredible how little there is. Yo, I'm telling you right now, 5-star hotel. 5-star, 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 5-star. Getting ready for Polaris this weekend. A couple days away. I feel okay. You know, feel okay. I'm excited about the match. Just to kind of get out there and compete, have a little fun. I think my opponent is taking this a little bit more serious than I am. You know, I'm just gonna, put this out there. But I don't blame him. It's a big opportunity, obviously, going against a big name. So he wants to give himself as big as an advantage as possible coming in. So respect to him for that. Makes me regret not doing a couple more training sessions and laying a little bit off the Madries. But it's all good. I'm on vacation, so it is what it is. I'm still pretty damn confident in my skills and my abilities to go out there and put on a good show and get my hand raised. Should be fun, though. Mike Grundy's a tough dude. UFC vet, former wrestler, still coaches, current brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And I think he won a couple of tournaments in the BJJ scene with the lower levels. I think around like the blue-purple level. So he's doing his thing. So this is going to be a very interesting match to see how we both kind of jockey for position on the feet and to see who makes that first critical mistake as a wrestler going for a grappling position. You might see me butt scoop and pull guard just to get the action going. I kind of just want to keep the fans engaged with some type of like competitiveness so that they can see high level display of BJJ. So it's not like a boring pushing match from a wrestling standpoint. Because I could do that with him and just kind of go toe to toe there and just keep it kind of in that neutral area. But that's not fun, right? I'm doing this to have fun. It's not like a competition in the sense of like prize fighting for money, whereas, everything's on the line. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. This is my first time in Wales. Been to the UK a couple of times. After this trip, we'll be out in London hanging out. We got to go to the Brewers Fay.
Is that what it's called?
Next door. So they took us out to Merthyr, hung out with the boys, Oban. Oban,
yeah, one
of the Welsh fighters. He just got signed to the UFC through the Contender Series. Congrats to him. Welterweight. Look out for that guy. We got to get some sparring in today. I messaged Grundy, my opponent, and I asked him to go from 165 to 170, so I didn't have to cut any weight, like, at all. Like, that's how little I want to cut. It was supposed to be originally be 160, and then yesterday when I landed, I realized how far 160 was. I was like, yeah, no, I don't really want to do all that. Like, I'm kind of good. Can we do 165? He agreed to 165. He was ready on weight today. And then I asked for 170 after my workout was 167.5. I was like, dude, let's just not cut any weight. I don't know how much you're cutting, but I'm imagining you're bigger than me. And he was already on weight. And I'm like, how are you on weight? Am I just ridiculous with my weight and you're just more disciplined or whatever it is? And it isn't not even more discipline. It's like just taking it more serious than I've been taking it. I just kind of like wasn't really paying attention to the weight. Should have just said 170 from the jump. I just didn't want them to throw a big welterweight guy who's cutting down to 170 who's going to be weighing like 190 pounds when we compete. So it is what it is. It should be fun. We got to do some MMA drills today. And then we did some light sparring over at Short MMA. Thank you guys for having me down. Those guys been great. Got to move around a little bit with Jack Shore just drilling. And then with some of his other guys, Oban, I'm just calling him Obi. And Levy, I think one of the guys' name is, and then another big dude, and another smaller young cat who's about 18. That kid is going to be a killer when he's older, man. So watch out for the Welshmen, because they're coming, man. They got some good things going over there, especially with the coaching system and how Richard Shore is kind of putting in the time and making sure these guys are coming up and doing the right type of training sessions and things like that. So it should be cool. I'm excited. This is a down week. There's no fights this weekend, guys. There's no fights this weekend.
We're getting some questions if you want to answer.
Yeah, let's do it.
So
let's answer these questions, Jake.
People are asking about Song Yadong versus Peter Yan.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna put a poll in the chat, and then I want you to give.
Oh, you can put a poll in the chat.
I'm gonna put a poll in the chat, and then give your answer, and then we'll come back to the poll.
Okay. So my thoughts on this fight: it is a barn burner. You got two power punches. Song doesn't really kick as much. I feel like Piotr kicks a little bit more than Song does. Song's more of just a power puncher looking to send you to the Neptunes. So is Piotr Yan when it comes to striking. This is going to be interesting because I think Song is a pretty big dude for the weight as well. He cuts a lot of weight to get down. I know this firsthand from how much the coaches told me he at least walks around that. I don't think they're lying. I think, he walks around just as heavy as I do. They were telling me I was big. I'm looking at him like, I'm big, guys. Come on, look at this guy standing next to me. We took a picture next to each other, and I was like, this guy's a tank of a man. High level fight. I'm not sure who takes this because obviously Yan has only struggled with wrestlers. The one striker he struggled with a little bit, and I don't want to say struggled, where it was kind of back and forth, was Sean O'Malley. But Sean O'Malley's also 5'11", and even then, I still think Yan kind of outstruck him. If I remember that correctly, throughout the entire fight, Yan outstruck him. I mean, I know the third round, the knee, and then Yan got dropped. I think when it's a striking matchup, striking affair, Yan tends to do well. But it's going to be interesting to see how he does with a power puncher like Song Yadong, and we'll see how good Song's defense is when it comes to two guys with a very similar style, see who could land that first kill shot. And I think that's what it is. It's a battle of who lands that first critical shot cleanly between the two of those guys, because I think they both hit hard enough where they can end the fight, especially when both guys are committed to standing up and striking.
So I just looked at the stats. It says Yan landed 97 total strikes while O'Malley landed 91. So Yan outstruck O'Malley.
Okay. I wonder if they took out on ground strikes as well. I'm assuming they probably are. I think Yan should win this fight because he's a little bit more diverse in his attacks. Song Yadong tends to load up a lot. I think he had a little bit of a tough time with Ricky Simone until he didn't. And then the fight with Corey Sandhagen, even though Corey took him down a couple times, I just think the kicks of Yan and his style of always going forward is what's going to make this interesting. I just think there was a couple times where Sandhagen was able to touch him and kind of get out of there, and he was swinging big shots and missing. Kind of like it just seemed a little bit aggressive and emotional versus like really timing and setting up his shot. So that's what's going to make this interesting. I'm leaning towards Yan, who's a little bit, I don't want to say tested, but he seems more proven. And it's the highest of the highest level. Anyone can win this. I'm just leaning towards Yan. Obviously, for Yan to win, it does and looks better for myself, Marab, and O'Malley. And yeah, so that's where I'm going.
We got a super chat that says, have you been to B Team in Austin? I just saw Joaquin Buckley do training there. Or are you a one gym kind of guy like Charles Oliveira?
I train everywhere, man. I'm probably the biggest gym whore out there.
Why though? Like, why do you like to train in other places?
I think it's cool to train in other places to get different insights on how people are training, what their training week looks like. I know only one way of really training per week, and it's Monday lift in the morning, Monday night grappling, MMA grappling, Tuesday morning or afternoon is either grappling or nighttime we do grappling or boxing. And then Wednesday is either just a drill day or I take it completely off. Thursday I spar. And then if I spar in the morning, I do something easy at night. or I don't do anything at all. And then Friday, I either do jiu-jitsu in the morning, and then I ride the bike at night, or I just do jiu-jitsu in the morning and take the rest of the day off, and then I spar again on Saturday. Sunday's a complete rest day. So it's interesting to see how other people do it and see how they give their body more time to recover, or see if I'm doing things well, or if there's bits and pieces I can steal from other people, whether it's certain types of training techniques or training sessions, the way they do things. And I think it's good to just see how everyone else trains. I mean, I talked to my now cop, and he pretty much trains 7 days a week, which I think is insane. I don't even know how he can physically do that based on what he was saying and how much he says he runs. And my brother, how do you even have time to do that?
Some
and
of these
actually
guys
live a
run
life.
so much, like
It's nuts.
I don't understand. Like,
and I don't run at all, but it's not like their cardio is like significantly better than mine. And I've always been like this since the beginning of my career. You know, I know I've said I've been feeling more tired in the later rounds as I've gotten older. This weight cut is just taking a lot out of me that last day. But I still feel when I was younger, when my gas tank was like that for days, I wasn't running. So I was just doing the Aerodyne bike.
I think because you do wrestling a lot, which is like hard cardio, and like you understand your body and like how to wrestle without getting tired as much. So like because you do that all the time, it's like your cardio is just better.
I get tired when I wrestle.
But you always talk about how like you know when to squeeze, when not to squeeze, when to lay on somebody
like
or
that.
like try to pull them down, like where you're not expending energy unnecessarily.
Yeah, but even like the transitions and stuff, like that's a little different, but for sure. I don't know. I think it's good to train at other gyms and get different looks. Like even here, seeing how they train. I didn't get to go to all the pro practices, but seeing how they train today. Like it's nice to see a coach do one technique, and then the team is doing that one technique. And you oftentimes see people that kind of start, like we got this one kid at my gym. I'm not going to call his name out. But we'll be doing a specific thing, and then he'll do it like one time. You look over, and he's doing like, I don't know, just something like he's doing like spinning back kicks. And we're doing like a 1, 2, 3 hook to the low kick, like basic but repetition. We're building into something else, and then he's doing like spinning back kicks on the side, and you're just looking at him like, bro, what are you doing? That's not the drill. So being able to go there this morning and seeing how they train and seeing that the guys were actually like doing the drill the entire way through and not being like, okay, I'm bored, I'm just going to make up some random shit now and start doing my own thing. If that's the point, it's like, what's the point of even having a coach unless the coach says, let's have a little bit of like your own twist after we do this. Let's try to add a little bit of pieces to this. So, yeah.
We got another super chat. Ryan said, huge fan of you, Aljo.
What up, Ryan?
Was wondering what your take on what you think makes Jon Jones so great, and what's the perfect game plan to beat him. So that's from Ryan.
What makes Jon Jones so great? I'm gonna say it's his tunnel vision and dedication to the sport. Like, yeah, he parties and stuff like that, but when it comes to training, man, he is an absolute dog in the room. He is one of those guys who we would say is the first one in, last one out type of people, especially when he was younger. I don't know how it is now. He's got a lot of kids. He's made a ton of money already. He's a heavyweight now. The talent pool up there is a little bit different than what it was at 205. I'm going to probably say it's even, I'm going to say arguably weaker, respectfully. I'm going to say it's not as thick as it is at 205, pause. I think that's what makes him really good. He's got this determination and will to win that I just feel he's willing to go there where a lot of people aren't willing to go to that dark place. And I think that's the difference between him and a lot of these other guys. You saw Dominic Reyes arguably won that fight. Alexander Gustafsson arguably won that fight. But those were two unique circumstances. I always say with the Gustafsson fight, I feel like he didn't train as hard as he's ever done in the past, where I think he was kind of thinking he was just going to go out there and kind of blow past him. And it turned out being one of his hardest fights in his entire career, where he actually had to go to the hospital. It doesn't happen very often for Jon Jones. And I think the game plan to beat a guy like that, in my opinion, is boxing and being able to pick off a couple of shots at a time. You can't start throwing tons of combinations because you start getting too crazy with Jon. Like, you got to know when to throw combinations and when to kind of back off and pick one shot at a time. If you watch the fight with him and Gustafsson, how Gustafsson, the first fight, he would throw something and then kind of get on his skate, cut an angle, and then pivot out of there. He's light on his toes. He's bouncing. Dominic Reyes constantly moving. You see Jon, he's kind of more plotty, but he throws these long-range oblique kicks, the jabs. He'll throw the spinning back kicks. He'll throw the side kicks. So, long-winded answer, but if I'm fighting Jon Jones, as a wrestler, me knowing what I'm good at, I think you blow me up to that weight class. I think utilizing a lot of footwork, cutting angles, letting him get frustrated and chasing you and taking bad shots, which he kind of took a bad shot against Cyril Gane. It was just Cyril Gane's defense was just so horrendous that Jon was able to just get it anyway. It was just, when I say bad shot, I mean it was kind of far away. It wasn't the ideal, perfect drill position kind of shot where you're like, okay, this is clean. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And I think you can see that in some of his other fights where he doesn't get the takedown. And you got to remember, he's human. So you got to just be able to match that. Like, what actually works? Footwork works when someone is trying to take a shot. You know Jon's going to try to take it down. What can you do to kind of deter that? You got to kind of get into the fire a little bit. You got to be wary about the clinch. He's good in the clinch. He's good with foot sweeps, inside trips, inside leg trips. So there's a lot that goes on. It's not easy. So me trying to give a blueprint to beat Jon Jones is not easy. I think the best thing you could do is be as a clean boxer with good footwork and good hips on the sprawl, being able to get the underhooks pummel out and being able to strike and make him pay for his takedown attempts and try to chip away little by little and probably win a point fighting match more so than a I'm looking to put you away kind of thing. You got to hope that shot comes. And Jon's been cracked before. We've seen him been touched. Like I said, we're all human. It's just, do you believe you can actually go out there and beat a guy like that where he's coming in with the absolute most conviction and he deserves to win? And I think that's what makes Jon Jones so great and one of the best, if not the best of all time.
Power donated a few bucks and said, would love to see you versus Halloway at featherweight, then get the title. And I put up a poll. I said, what should Aljo do next? Fight Sean O'Malley rematch or go to featherweight and fight Holloway? And it's 60-40 in favor of featherweight.
You know, I honestly, guys, I really have not. Who is this, Power? This
was Power, yeah.
Power. Shout out Power. Thank you for the question and thank you for the donation as well. I'm going to be honest, I have not taken the time to look at the division for 135 or 145 to see what's my next best move. Contractually, I get paid the same thing I would get paid to fight whoever I'm fighting, whether it's a Holloway, Arnold Allen, Ilya Taporia, Giga Chikadze, Calvin Kattar, Song Yadong, Piotr Yan, Trilogy. The only way I would get a pay bump would be strategically to fight for a title. I would get the challenger fight purse pay. Other than that, I go back to my contractual pay, which is different. So it's got to be a fight that makes sense for me. I want to have the fights that people actually give a shit about, not just go fight some guy coming off the Contender Series, and respectfully to those guys. But, you know, I've cut my teeth in this game for a couple of years now. I've been with the company for almost a decade at this point. Next year it makes 10 years in February. So with that being said, a fight with Holloway definitely interests me, because if I could beat him, I think I'm consensusly the number one contender, or should I say the next title shot challenger at 145. That would be ideal. And it'll be interesting to see how I do at that weight class, having the extra weight, not doing that severe of a dehydration weight cut, and then seeing if my cardio goes back to where it is in the room. Because I'm telling you guys, room aljo is different from the one out there under the lights. Even though I still think I do a pretty damn good job, I do think I leave a little bit of my endurance and my strength in that sauna, and in the sauna blanket. I'm not even using the sauna anymore. The sauna blanket. when I'm doing those severe dehydration. So it'd be interesting to see how I do there. I look forward to potentially fighting Max Holloway. That would be a fun fight, an idol of mine, a guy I fought with coming up on multiple cards, and a guy I got to train with. We never really got to get that close though. He's kind of more reserved. I'm not sure where that changed for him, if he's always been like that, but the last 2 times I went to Hawaii, I didn't really get to train with him all too much. I got to grapple a little bit. We never sparred or anything. We did like the touch spar into a live takedown scenario, but I got to watch him spar, and it was amazing to watch back in 2015. And I tell you what, man, the guy was just unreal. To watch a guy like that work and see how high of a level he was at from a striking standpoint, it made me realize why he was one of the best and why he was one of my favorites and why he was one of the best featherweights of all time. So we'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Again, I have not taken the time to sit and look at everything and map out the landscape to see where's my best path to challenging for a belt again, or to just having fun fights with fights that matters, with people that people are going to give a shit about that fight. And just for me at this point, it's just about the legacies and what I'm going to do with these last few years while I'm still in the game.
Oh yeah, brother.
Oh yeah, brother.
They said Aljamain could kill Brock Lesnar in a street fight.
I mean, I could. Because he may be 360, bro, but I'm 170. Come at me. I'll be 165 tomorrow. Brock Lesnar would kill me, man. That guy, if he grabs a hold of me, he actually knows what he's doing a little bit.
Wasn't he? He was champion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like he's like doesn't know how to fight.
No. It's not like Bradley Martin beating up some YouTuber.
What are your thoughts on Bradley Martin?
I don't know.
I think you've talked about it.
So here's my thing about Bradley Martin. I know everyone's been giving him clout. I know there's some comments saying like, why are we entertaining this dude? It's just funny because I think he actually believes what he's saying. And I know some people are saying, nah, he's just taking a piss. I'm like, nah, dude. I'm telling you, when I'm sitting there with him, listening to him talk, watching some of his other stuff, I'm telling you, there's just something about it. He gives us this energy that he's like extremely confident in what he's saying, that he actually does think he could do the things that he's spewing out into the universe. So to him, it might be a joke, like, oh, I'm getting my views, and I'm riling these guys up, I'm getting the internet talking. But I actually do think in the back of his mind, he thinks like, this guy really doesn't know, like, I would really fuck him up. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, this guy really doesn't know. I would really kill him. I would legitimately destroy this man. If it was a street fight to the death, bro, I don't think he's leaving. I really don't.
What's the strategy? Because, like,
you've seen him punch. And if that's the guy that's attacking me, I'm telling you, I'm on this guy's back. And even if he was able to swing me off of his back one time, he's going to be so exhausted that I'm going to do it again. Probably kick him in the balls, hit him with the Stone Cold Stunner, and then finish the job. I'm going home. He's on the floor, face down, ass up.
So, what if you get on his back and you have him in a choke, and he just falls backward and all his 260 falls on top of you with all that force?
Bro, all that 260 falls right on top of me, and I land flat on my back, and it was the perfect jump that he's never practiced a day in his life, but it was just going to be so perfect in the street fight because it's life or death, and he needs to get the perfect jump of a 260 landing flat on my back. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think the fight's over. I think he wins.
I mean, because that seems like... that seems possible.
It's very ridiculous. It's very ridiculous.
Garrett Bueller, who donated, said, would you go on the Timbo Sugar Show?
Yeah, I mean, I have no reason not to. It's funny because Tim Welch actually invited me on, and he never followed up. So I was like, I guess he was thinking that I was probably gonna be like salty about it, or he probably thought it was gonna be a good idea. I don't know what he was thinking, but I was definitely gonna say, I think I deserve a rematch more than Sean earned the title shot. So, what do you say? That would have been one of the questions I would have proposed to them. Like, so
that's probably why they don't want to do it, because they don't want to face that question.
Yeah, it's kind of silly And even when we did the Aiden Ross stupid interview, and then
Oh, somebody asked about that interview.
I was like,
what did you think about doing that?
I thought it was so dumb.
Really?
Yeah, like the guy was asking questions that it was just like, what is this? It was kind of a joke. But then Sean even asked me something. It was like he didn't ask me something. He said something, and I was like, I fight the best guys, or whatever. I forgot what exactly he said, but I said something along the lines of, I don't know, whatever it was. His thing to me, though, his rebuttal was, you're fighting me because I'm the biggest payday of your life that you're going to ever get. And I started laughing, and I go, yeah, you're damn right. But it was true. I was like, that's the only reason I jumped back in to take the fight so soon. Because I knew I wasn't ready, but it was more so like, I'm going to use this financial incentive, flip the switch in my head mentally, which I did. I had a really good training camp. But I still think, in hindsight, if I could see it all play out, I would have a hard time picking yes, go forward, or no, just take a time out to kind of reset your brain and your body, and then go back when you're like at 100%, so that you can more than guarantee that you're going to be in a better spot to win the fight. Because again, he could land that right hand at any moment. He could land that left hand at any moment in any fight. It's more so me not making that mistake of getting outside myself. So I do think having a longer reset and some proper downtime would have been enough for me to, like, I haven't made that mistake that bad since Marlon Moraes. I know some people were commenting. I seen some comments saying that you do that all the time, but this is the first person who was able to capitalize on it. And I'm telling you, like,
I don't think so.
There's like they said, you even did it with Henry. Henry's, it's just different. Like, when you know what a threat is from a certain guy, like Henry doesn't have that threat. So when I do certain things, it's not really of concern, because he's never shown that. Where if he caught me with that, it'd be like very surprising. But him, Sandhagen, Piotr Jan, like, I know what all these guys bring to the table. TJ Dillashaw, like, we study these guys. They through in and throughout, and just thoroughly. TJ Dillashaw, thoroughly, knowing all his tricks, his traps, and I think we do a damn pretty good job of making sure we minimize the mistakes. And I haven't made a mistake. Like I said, I haven't made a mistake that bad since the Moraes fight, where I just rush in blindly into an attack. And obviously, we all know when you go forward into an opposing force, it's like a car crash. I think I did a pretty good job of still seeing it, because if I didn't see it at all, I think that shot would have put me out flat. But the fact that I seen it, I was able to kind of brace for it, like, this is going to suck, boom. And then I went face forward. I was like, okay, I got to abort, playing turtle on my back. Yeah.
The Marshall Cardists said, what are some of your favorite 90s rap songs / albums?
Favorite 90s rap songs. You know, I don't really remember the name of the albums, man. But, you know, I like a good Method Man, Redman. What was the Static Shock? No. Damn, it's so long I haven't heard some of these songs or, like, know the names. Busta Rhymes was one of my favorites. But the Method Man song was... Microphone checker, Supreme protector, something like that. It's actually a really good song. That was one of my favorite tracks from those guys. Busta was one of my favorites coming up. Lil Wayne was definitely one of my favorites. Love All the Droughts, the Carters. Who else did I used to listen to? I used to listen to like a lot of one-off songs. I couldn't afford like music. Like my parents never paid for like iTunes and things like that. The disc, we would get everything.
You're so old that you didn't have Spotify as a kid.
Nah, we didn't. We didn't have that. We had a lot of disc, Discman. We streamed on LimeWire and what's the other one? Freeze.
DatPiff and shit.
DatPiff. But there's another streaming one, LimeWire and I'm drawing a blank. LimeWire was Napster. Napster was another big one. So that's where I used to get all my music from. So I never really knew like the album names and stuff. It was just trying to get what I could get because I didn't have money to afford shit like that. Now, I got my own Spotify account. And I got a Duo.
You should like make a public playlist.
I do have
like
a playlist.
90s playlist, a 90s rap that you would listen to.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I could do that. So maybe I will do something like that. I do have my own playlist now. It's called Ratchet Funk Master or Ratchet Funk.
I think it's Ratchet Funk.
Yeah. So it's like all the ratchet shit I like to listen to when I want to just get ghetto. Yeah. It's a vibe. Spotify all day.
Okay, next one. Wes Wade said, got my second boxing fight this weekend. Any advice on how to deal with the nerves?
Listen, man, the nerves are what fuel you. They keep your senses sharp. They help you with your reflexes. And it could also make you tired. You got to be comfortable being in that zone. And I think the best way to kind of handle it is just kind of trying to remind yourself that it's just like practice. If you could do that, I think you're going to have some success throughout your career. I think that's the hardest part for a lot of athletes is being able to channel that energy, the nervous energy, and using it to fuel them more than anything. The nerves should kind of get you like, ooh, like I'm ready to go kind of thing. I get nervous all the time. Even for the O'Malley fight, I get nervous. I got nervous for every single one of my fights. The only one I actually never got nervous for was a Marlon Moraes fight, bro. And that was, we all know how that went. And it just felt like I was so slow. I was just, I don't know, like everything I was thinking to do, I felt like it was just so weird. Like I felt everything. I didn't feel like I had the adrenaline rush to like numb the pain a little bit. I threw the very first kick, came out, my hands up, put my hands down, threw an inside leg kick, he checked it. And I was just like, ow.
Who is this?
Marlon Moraes. Oh, yeah. He checked the very first kick I threw. I was like, motherfucker, that hurt. That shit hurt. But yeah, I think if you can channel your energy, use it for positivity and visualize what you're going to do, visualize the things that your opponent can do, how you can counter that, I think you're going to find yourself having success. But nerves are very normal. They don't go away. It's your fight or flight system reacting, knowing what's about to happen, and it's going to help make you better, sharper, faster, stronger, because that's what you get when you get those nerves. All those senses get heightened, and believe it or not, I think it makes you a better competitor. So it's just up to you to kind of shift your mind and to remind yourself and remember that you have put in the work, if you put in the work now, and that you deserve to win. And remember, just because you deserve to win doesn't mean you're going to win. It's doing the things that are going to help you win and trying to remember all the things you do in your training, specifically for your opponents, that's going to help you get your hand raised.
Colton said, please fulfill my fantasy of seeing you bulk to 155.
Colton, damn, dog, you trying to get me killed? It's funny because I feel like I can definitely not go up to 155.
I thought you were about to.
There are some matchups there that I think if I can weather an early storm and I can take some of these guys down, and I truly believe I have some of the best jiu-jitsu in the entire world and in the game. And it's not even, let me rephrase, maybe it's not like straight up BJJ, but I think for MMA, I think I have some of the best like ground game in the world. I think I mix it well compared to a lot of the guys, and I know how to kind of go from striking to grappling and mixing both at the same time. I think that's what makes my game a little bit more challenging for a lot of other people. So I could definitely go 155. I don't know if the UFC would ever allow me to do that. I think they'd be like, nah, son, you're not about to be a bandweight going up to 155. I don't think they'll allow it. But there are some matchups there where I'm like, dude, if I take this guy down, oh, come on. I'm just, in my head, I just go, come on. Come on. Really?
I put up a poll. Could Aljo fight at 155? 43% say yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna have the same success. Some of those guys are like 190. But I grapple with Favola. I grapple with Nassim. I grapple with Charlie. And I do pretty good with those guys. And I'm a bantamweight, So I could definitely do well there. But those guys hit hard. So it would be a matter of like the game of try not to get clipped before you take them down. So that would be the game.
G asked, what's your excitement level for the KSI and Tommy Fury card? So that has KSI versus Tommy Fury, and then Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis.
I don't even get mad at these freak show fights anymore, man. I mean, it is what it is. Jake Paul's on this one?
Logan
Paul. But is he actually like training? I know Jake's training, so I respect
Logan's
that.
definitely training.
I mean, he's training now,
Like,
but is he actually training the way like Jake Paul's training? Like, I feel like Jake Paul's actually all in, where Logan's doing WWE.
Well, I think Logan's
like,
been like, for this camp, he's been really training every day. But
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like been train. They say, him and Jake both say that he's been training boxing this whole time. But I think Jake's been doing it like all in every day, where Logan's like maybe doing one workout a day, but not like. Maybe he's hitting pads or something every day, but not like.
Maybe
that way.
We'll never know.
But he's fighting Dylan Dennis.
Yeah, and Dylan Dennis is not the best puncher. He's a grappler, so of course it makes sense for, these guys to pick a matchup like that. It's kind of like when they picked Ben Askren. It's like, come on, man, come on. I do wonder how much Ben Askren got paid for that, because that was just bad. That was so bad. I don't know. My excitement level is not very high. Am I going to watch it? I don't know. Maybe. I'm actually going for Dylan Dennis, respectfully.
Why is that?
Because I just feel like, from what I've been seeing in the media, it just seems like Dylan's actually right.
About what?
About some of the stuff he said about Logan, outside of the female stuff, like that stuff I don't condone whatsoever. I don't think you should be doing that. Dragging, even if she is what she is, the guy he's dating her now is kind of like, it's a little bit distasteful in my opinion. I know they say all is fair in love and war, but it's a little distasteful for me. So, I don't know who I want to win anymore. Whatever, whoever wins, double knockout. My excitement level is not very high for two guys who barely box to go out there and box. Like, and then what are they charging us? $70 for this to watch this?
Stream Beast. Adam Skorzinski said Gamrot versus Islam. What do you think?
It's a great fight.
Gamrot
versus Islam is a great fight.
Makhachev.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the only one Islam that I know. If we're talking Islam Makhachev versus Arman Sharyukian on short notice, coming in, taking down Islam multiple times, reversing the position, getting up to his feet, getting taken down, of course, losing a close fight with Islam Makhachev. What happens with Makhachev fights Sharyukian with a full camp? And then you see Gamrot fighting Arman Sharyukian. He beats him in a very close fight also. But it goes to show you how good of a grappler Gamrot is. And now he's finding some success with the hands, especially in that fight with Fiziev. Fiziev normally just blitzes everybody. He does not care. But that one, he didn't come out as crazy as he normally does, because I think he was very respectful that if he opens himself up, he's getting taken down by a guy who's made a career off of slipping punches and kicks and taking people down. I think that is a very interesting fight. And this is what I was saying about Khabib. He never fought like a high-level grappler with wrestling and jiu-jitsu. It's always been strikers. Yeah, you're going to be the greatest to do your style over others if the others are so deficient in that category, where 135 and 145, it's a lot harder to do that because guys are just a little bit more well-rounded overall, where that's why the Khabib and Oliveira fight, when it never happened, when it was supposed to happen, that's why the MMA community was so like just bummed out, because that was the test to really see how good Khabib is when Tony Ferguson is in his prime and can grapple defensively, can grapple offensively, doesn't mind getting taken down, can fight off of his back, can use jiu-jitsu off of his back. Now we have Oliveira, but he's not the greatest wrestler, but we know he's good off of his back, right? So now you have Gamrot, who's good off of his back, can scramble, he can get takedowns, and he can submit you from top. That's a complete grappler right there. So for me, I'm very interested to see how Gamrot does if he gets to that title shot situation. If Islam were to beat Oliveira again, I think it's a very interesting matchup. And that's why fight is fight, man. I think styles make fights. And you see how good Volkanovski was able to do coming up a weight class. He didn't even bulk up. He didn't even take the time off to bulk up or anything like that. He didn't go the Jon Jones route, I need 3 years off or anything like that. He literally just went up after he just fought a couple months later against Islam Makhachev, who's supposed to be the next coming of Khabib. And he gave him a hell of a run for his money, arguably a draw. Or he should have won the freaking fight, in my opinion. But he didn't. But you got to respect, if he can do that, you could get a guy who's going to be a little bit stronger, more natural for the weight class, even though we're all cutting weight, so it's not very natural, and Gamrot. Or Arman Sharyukin if he gets to that title shot situation again. Those are very intriguing matchups to see how those guys would do against Islam Makhachev. Islam's got he's heavy as the head that weighs the crown, man. He's got his work cut out for him. This Oliveira fight is going to be tough. He already had a barn burner with Volkanovski. That was the most beat up he's ever been. Yeah, he's been knocked out before. But he got caught. He didn't take a beating. The Volkanovski fight, he kind of got beaten up a bit. 5-round war. And then he's going to fight Oliveira. This fight's going to be very, very different. He's had a long layoff. And then for him, the next guys coming up are Gamrot. You have Sharyukin, who's also right there, even though he just lost to Gamrot not too long ago. But then who else is there at 155? I mean, you can do Justin Gaethje again, even though he never fought Islam. So there's that. But that's a striker. So I don't know. I just don't want to keep seeing the same matchups. But Gaethje's ready to retire, so he earned his shot. So whoever the winner of this, he gets a chance. If Oliveira wins, it's a rematch. Or if Islam wins again, it'll be a first chance for him to fight and redeem himself, I guess, with his shortcomings against Khabib.
Gaethje would be interesting.
It would be.
Because he's gotten a lot better. I wonder if, he learned from the grappling.
You know what's crazy about that, too? Is, the Gaethje fight was so close with Dustin Poirier, but Poirier was looking like the better, cleaner striker in that fight.
He was, yeah.
And then he just throws up a head kick that he said he never even practices. And it fucking lands.
Which is weird because it was the exact same head kick that Leon landed on Kamaru.
Yeah.
Which is Gaethje's teammate.
Yeah.
So
it's fascinating in that regard because people, one round is not enough. And that's why each round is different fights.
Yeah, it froze for a sec. Do something? Okay. That's so weird. Okay. Someone Darren Miguel said thoughts on Bryce's ground game, and then flat earth. He asked about.
I'm saying, what's his name?
Darren Miguel.
Darren, what's up? I'm gonna just tell you one thing. Freedom. Freedom. Am I holding this up right? Flat Earth. I don't know what that's about. I probably would have fell off the Earth a long time ago if the Earth was really
flat. Earth was flat.
Yeah, I should have fell off a while ago then. But I should have fell off. Somehow I'm still on the Earth. I thought his performance was good. Back and forth, man. Dan had a really good opportunity of, I don't want to say closing the show, but closing the gap in that third round after he got taken down with doing some damage in that last bit of the sequence. I'm just not sure if he was aware of the time. But it was a really good fight, fun fight. Bryce showed that even with the time off, and maybe there is something to the thing that he said about with the Ilya fight. Or then again, freaking Ige just hit so hard. He hit so hard, but you can see the tenacity of Bryce. No deterrence, no quitting that guy. One eye shut. And it's interesting how the doctors let it go. The guy's eyeball was completely shut. The doctors let it go. But then there's other fights where it's a small cut and they look in the eye and then they stop the fight. I thought they were going to stop the fight. But they let it go. And if they didn't, we wouldn't have seen Bryce push through the pain. And I don't want to say a comeback, but it kind of looked like it wasn't going well for him, and then he came back and closed it out.
Do you secretly watch MMA Guru's videos?
I actually do not watch any of MMA Guru's videos. Not because I don't want to. I just don't have the time. I really don't have the time. And I don't know if he's ever offered anything of importance other than like just banter.
He's entertaining.
Yeah, but when I say important, it's like it's anything that could get value out of than just like I'm just tuning in to laugh.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like, why am I even tuning in unless it's like live and I can just jump in for a couple minutes of laughing and then going out.
I think fans like when a fan gives their perspective sometimes, like, because it's like from there, it's like they can relate to it more.
Yeah.
Versus like you're like such an expert. It's like a different type of content.
Yeah. I guess.
You've been booed since the first Jan fight. If you had to do it all over again, would you have continued to fight instead of winning the championship on a DQ? Jason GT asked.
This question is so tiring. But the best way I can answer this is I had more time on the clock. I laid down so that I could try to recover because I knew if I tried to stand up right away, I would have been too dizzy, exhausted, and the acting would have looked a lot worse had I stood up. So I thought I did the smart thing by just laying on my back and just told the doctor, I told the ref and the doctor to just give me a little bit more time. And then a couple of seconds later, they called the fight. So in hindsight, it worked out for me. If you're asking, would I have continued, I would have continued if they'd given me the time to say, hey, 5 minutes is up, what do you want to do? You know, every fighter says the same thing, I'm going to fight. I don't know any fighter that goes out there when they get low blowed or poked in the eye, they're like, yeah, I just don't want to fight no more. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that. You know, I've seen people say like, oh, when they ask the doctor and they're like, can you see? And they go, no, I can't see. And they always tell us in the back room, whatever you do not tell me you cannot see, because if you say that, I'm going to have to stop the fight. So we never say that. That's like what they teach us now, kind of a thing.
That's kind of weird.
So you're like, you say other things like, they're like, can you continue? It's like, yes, I can continue. Or you can say like, I need a few seconds. So to kind of like stall the time for them to like bring the doctor in, wipe the eye. So it was kind of one of those situations, but it's just fascinating that people make it seem like I told the doctor or the ref to like stop the fight. I never once did that. I'm not saying you're saying that.
But they're saying like, would you go back and do it differently because
but
then
how
the
could
fans
I?
would
But
like
how
you
could
more?
I? How could I have done it differently in that situation? Like I said, I laid down, and then the doctor, no, the ref went over to the doctor, or did he go over to another ref, and he called the fight. Like when I watched the replay and I'm laying there, I'm just laying on my back, trying to gather myself, and then when I watch the replay, I'm laying there, and then Mark Smith goes over, he talks to somebody, and he calls a fight, and at that point I was like, damn, I'm never getting another title shot again. Because I thought that was going to be a no contest, and I thought Dana was going to say, we're not doing the rematch. We saw that fight was going. So, in the sense of people thinking like...
That was your immediate...
That was my immediate thought.
Wow.
Like, damn, I can't believe this is how my title fight went after I worked so damn hard to get here. And I just botched the entire weight cut. So...
Wow.
It's hard to say would I do it all over again, because I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong in the sense of that. If you're saying would I have like try to just jump up and then risk falling over and them just calling the fight immediately, I guess maybe we could have done that. But that's really it. Because like I said, I would have taken the full 5 minutes to recover and just chill the fuck out on my back until, you know, I've always seen guys who get knocked out or cracked or wobbled, and then they get up and they say, what? And then they're falling all over the place. And it's because it's like spinning around in a circle as fast as you can for 10 seconds, and you're trying to stand in place, and you're going to stumble. So it's the same exact thing. Your equilibrium is off. So the smart thing I thought was to just stay on the ground. And I told him it was a little dizzy, but I was like, it's fine if I lay down. If I stay here, I'm fine. And then he was like, okay, take your time. I think that's what he said, take your time. So I took my time, and then he went over, and then they called the fight.
I think people thought, like, because they were whispering, like, a couple feet away from you or something, they thought you heard them.
I saw that too, and I was like,
Yeah.
what? That was the last thing I was even thinking about. Like I didn't even hear.
It was weird because I was watching that fight live,
Yeah.
and I never thought you were faking it.
I never.
That was like a narrative that emerged like a couple days later.
It emerged because Marab posted a picture of me at the house.
I know.
With my friends.
That picture.
That
ruined everything.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I legitimately was throwing up that night. Like I did nothing wrong. There was even to this day, it's still crazy that people still talk to me about it. Like, oh, you acted, and like, oh my god, the fact that people think you can act something like that after being hit that fucking hard, it's insane to me. That's the part that's insane. And then some people say, oh, that was a soft hit, or it wasn't that hard, Anthony Smith. I'm like, bro, can we put these two knees side? We should actually just post that, two knees side by side, and just go, virtually identical. Just like taking the piss. Like, come on, guys.
Kenny asked, Rockhold was supposed to grapple Craig Jones on the 21st, but the event got canceled. How do you think it would have gone down if they did?
21st of this month. Well,
maybe.
Rockhold's not a bad grappler, man. Him and Chris Weidman. Weidman won ADCC.
Right.
Or did he lose in the finals? I think he won it.
I think you just told me he won it.
I'm pretty sure Chris Weidman won it. And Rockhold's a pretty damn good grappler himself. Wrestled, really good black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's done some crazy submissions in the UFC as well. I think it would have been very interesting, but I do think if Craig Jones starts attacking the legs, which is like saying, does water get you wet? Or is the sky blue? I think Craig Jones would have started to attack the legs, and that could have been very problematic for Luke. Luke's been looking a lot slower lately, too. Like, even when he was boxing, he looked very labored. His mouth was open the whole time. It looked like he was struggling to breathe.
Yeah.
I hope I don't look like that on Saturday, because I've been partying my freaking ass off. But I'm like, I better not look like that, because that just looks like old and like time to retire, bro.
But like the training you're doing, you don't look like that. You're still getting everybody.
But this one thing looks like something in training, and then the next thing to do when you compete.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm going to look like that. But if I did look like that, I might be looking in the mirror like, bro, you sure you want to keep doing this? You sure about that?
Seriously?
You sure about that? I mean, if I look like complete shit like that, I mean, Rocco looked like complete shit in that match. I'm pretty sure he knows it. Like, respectfully.
I mean, he probably barely trained and just took the bag.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he looked awful.
I heard, like, he kind of doesn't train as much.
Anymore, I would think.
Like, I've heard from people.
And he probably thought he was going to walk through Mike Perry.
And I mean, Mike Perry's a lower weight class, right?
Yeah.
So I could see why he would think that.
Perry fought at 170. Rocco fought at 185.
Yeah.
And also 205. The 205 didn't go well.
No.
But just saying he's a big dude.
Weidman won the ADCC East Coast Trials in 2009 and earned an invitation to that year's World Championships. He competed at 88 kg and lost on points to Andre Galvao.
Galvao in the finals.
Who was like... And then he was submitted by Vinny Magala, in the absolute division. So I mean that's pretty damn.
That's pretty damn good.
Andre Galvao is like he's considered the GOAT.
One of the greatest of all times in grappling. So Weidman's a beast. Like Weidman should be doing stuff like that. I know his leg is still a little, especially after that fight. But yeah, I think Craig Jones would have won. I just think he's just more in it than Luke is right now. Luke is kind of just training for fun. Doesn't seem like he's training seriously at all.
Luke was just in a fashion show.
Yeah. And more power to him.
I mean, he's getting bags probably.
Yeah, right good for him.
Yeah.
But I just think, even for me, you hear how I'm talking, like, I don't want to just be going out there to go get smoked. Like, even if I'm having fun partying, I still want to make it somewhat competitive. Or should I say very competitive?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you should win matchup-wise. But this guy's been, like...
No, this guy's in the lab,
He wants to beat you.
Yeah. I'm like, damn. That actually made me more nervous. I'm like, damn, dude, I'm just out here for fun. You over here taking this like it's a freaking world championship run right now. So now I'm like, damn, I got to tighten some things up.
Rodrigo Montez asked, have you smoked the sugar strain? I heard it hits. Does he have his own strain of weed?
I don't know. I don't know if he's being cheeky or...
I think he is. But if he does have a strain of weed, that's kind of cool.
Yes, I guess.
Not as cool as having a rum.
Someone was asking me to make my own, like the funk strain. I'm just like, I don't know if that's good for me to make, because if I'm trying to work with other brands at all. But unless it makes so much money that it's like doesn't even freaking matter, I'll definitely do that. I like to smoke occasionally. It's like chill.
You like edibles or smoking more?
I like the edibles more because smoking with the lungs and everything, I feel like it's just a little bit easier so I can continue to push a higher threshold.
I agree. I feel like it's not even worth smoking because we can take edibles.
That too. But it's just a different vibe. Like, you're not going to sit in a circle and eat edibles with your friends. But you can sit in a circle and pass a blunt. You can sit in a circle, pass a bowl, a bong, a GB, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. And the same thing, like you can sit in a circle in a group and talk and drink, sip on some beer or sip on some Funk Harbor, coming soon. Mix it with some Nerd Focus. Shout out Nerd Focus. Sponsor me for Polaris 25. A lot of good stuff. Are there any other fight announcements? I heard Belal Muhammad has a fight. I don't know why do people shit on him.
Wait, hold on. I think he might be fighting Kamaru. That's the rumor. Let's just say, like, hypothetically, if that fight happens, how do you break that one down?
I think
that's a sick fight.
Belal might be better at doing the Usman than Usman is at doing the Usman.
Explain.
I just think Belal is just really good at pushing people against the cage and doing nothing. Respectfully.
Or like holding you down.
Yeah, he's just very good at it. He's a strong dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's his fault you can't do nothing, but it's a lot of the opponents who get there and they just don't do anything to get off the cage or to get off their back.
His last 2 fights, he hasn't attempted a takedown.
With Burns and then with Sean Brady.
Yeah, because he knocked out Brady and then Burns had
shoulder.
He kicked the shit out of Burns, like with his actual kicks. I'm saying.
Yeah, and people were getting pissed, saying, "Oh, he didn't finish him." But then I compared it. I said, "You guys got mad at me because I finished TJ and said I didn't finish him fast enough because his arm came out the socket." But then on the other side of the coin, I'm hearing people saying, and I read the Twitter comments, and they were saying they were mad at him because he got injured and he still couldn't finish an injured opponent. And Gilbert Burns, as if Gilbert Burns is not still a savage. Like, TJ Dillashaw is still a savage, but I still finished him. Like, even with the one arm, oh, it took you too long. Gilbert Burns still savage. You didn't finish him. Oh, you should have been able to finish him. It's just like, there is no, like, what is it? But people will generally just get pissed at Belal because of his style. But I think, like you said, and like we've all seen his last 2 fights, he hasn't really initiated any grappling sequences. So, not saying like he's changed his style completely, but I think he's shown that he's willing to improve and evolve, and try to put on some more fan-friendly fights. But at the end of the day, his job is to get 2 checks. It's not his fault that Burns got hurt. He did what he was supposed to do, and won against a guy who's still swinging haymakers at him. So you got to be respectful of that and not get taken down, or not taken down, get clipped by a guy who went toe-to-toe with Hamzat Chimaev and dropped him.
And then before, I mean, Sean Brady was like the second coming of Christ.
Yeah, Sean Brady was supposed to be the next big thing.
He was undefeated, and then Belal just knocked him out, inshallah.
Inshallah.
In the Holy Land.
What?
He just took him. He took him to Dubai and just knocked him out. And then Sean Brady hasn't fought since.
No, he hasn't. Damn. Really? Since that time? Since October?
I don't think he's fought. I'll double check that, but.
That would be wild. It's almost a year.
That is it, bro. But that time went kind of quick.
Did it?
I feel like you just fought TJ.
Nah. Well, kind of.
Well,
yeah, I've been busy, man. Oh, I've been busy.
Yeah, he had 2 fights scheduled, but they didn't happen.
Okay.
So he fought Belal, and then he was supposed to fight in March against Michel Pereira, and then in July against JDM, and now he's scheduled to fight Kelvin Gastelum. He's scheduled to fight me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Belal's style is very problematic when he wants to be. Will he try to strike with Usman? I think he might actually. Usman's got a very good jab, though. and a nice 1-2. But will he be willing to stand up and trade with Belal? I don't know. I think Usman's probably thinking he's going to need to strike with him. But then I think the improvements that Belal has made are going to be pretty damn solid.
Who do you think's the better grappler? Him or Belal or Kamaru?
Overall, I'm going to say, oh damn, I don't know.
That's
we're talking clinching, we're talking takedowns, we're talking get-ups, we're talking top position, bottom position.
Because Kamaru's not like, I feel like he's not taking everybody down, but he's really hard to take down, which you have to consider.
I mean, he got taken down twice against Kobe.
Yeah, but before that he had no takedowns.
Yeah.
No one took him down.
But they don't even count that. It's so crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Who's the better grappler? It's really hard to say. I don't want to say it's not Usman because of his last 2 fights with Leon Edwards. But he looked really good in Salt Lake City. The last one was like, okay. But then Belal, who has he fought like Usman stylistically? Really nobody. And it's not his fault. It's like none of the high up guys want to fight him because he's a tough style. It's hard for me to go against Usman, though. I don't know. But then Usman also might be on his way out.
He could be.
So...
I mean, Belal hasn't been kicked in the head like that.
Well, despite that, I don't even think that's the thing that matters. I think he's just been training so much. His knees are shot. First time for him to run in a very long time. I think he's at a point where he's made enough money where he's okay to just go out and ride off to the sunset after a couple more bags and just be like, all right, I'm out. Thanks for the cheese. I'll smell you later.
Yeah. It's been an hour. You've been going for an hour.
Oh, damn.
But somebody did comment that they're over there and they'll buy you a pint of Madri.
Over where?
Next door.
I can't drink tonight, man. Maybe Saturday night after the match. I was gonna drink tonight, but Grundy's being a grump right now. He's being the Grinch. He won't give me the 170-pound allowance. Otherwise, I would have had a beer tonight, maybe 2. But
yeah, you gotta lose 4 pounds.
yeah, it's probably good. Yeah. I gotta go suffer in the sauna. I mean, it's only 4 pounds, but I'll drill in the morning. Maybe hit the sauna. Yeah, I'd be alright. Weigh in at 9 to 3.
Kenny asked, thoughts on the best body for wrestling? I thought wrestling favors the larger guy, but DC did well despite always being the smaller guy, except Lanky John. I don't feel like DC was the smaller guy.
Against who?
He said DC. He's saying DC was always a smaller guy.
Yeah, he was, though.
Like, shorter.
Yeah.
But, like, he's still...
Yeah, but he's talking about body structure right now.
Yeah.
So he fought a heavyweight, and a lot of those guys were like 6'5", 6'4". He picked them all up and dumped them on their heads.
I feel like the shorter guy does better, right?
No, usually the longer guy is usually the shorter guy is always going to be more explosive. But that's usually for like a wrestling match. You're talking a fight, it's definitely a bit different. You can even see like Volkanovski and how well he does. But if we're talking solely just wrestling, I think the shorter guy typically has a harder time, but they're also harder to get a hold of and get underneath their hips because it's so low to the ground. But DC does such a good job of controlling his center of gravity, his base, his wall, and being able to get inside, get that high crotch, switch to the backside, and then lift, and just dump guys and take them for a ride, making them all feel like Superman. They all go, wee!
Will FWC said, who do you think is the best unranked bantamweight? I would have to say Ayman Zahabi. Also, I would love to see you fight Max Holloway.
Best unranked bantamweight, man, there's so many good guys. The best one, I mean, the Boschrot brothers are both really freaking good. You got Adrian Yanez, he's probably not ranked anymore, if I'm not mistaken, but he's still pretty damn good. He lost to Ralph Font in a barn burn of 2 minutes of the fight that lasted in 1 round. Who else? There's this kid named Armfield Gareth, 135er. I think he's had like 2 fights in the UFC right now. He's pretty damn good. He just knocked out the Japanese dude. in the first round. He's a heavy hitter, good boxing mechanics, fundamentals, very basic but good. But again, it's like looking at these guys versus the competition that they're going with. I think all these guys are kind of neck and neck. It's just like who's having the better day sometimes versus like who's fighting a specialist. We're not seeing too many of those right now. But there's a lot of good guys, man. There's so many good guys. And as a hobby, is really good as well. I think he's really fucking good. I think we'll do one more.
The last one. Are you coming on vacation to Costa Rica?
Ooh, I'm supposed to do a retreat in Costa Rica in either December or February. If that doesn't happen, then I'm not sure when I'm coming to Costa Rica, but that is the tentative plan right now. I actually can't wait to get out there. It's going to be fun, and it's not going to be like Wales where it's super cold. I am freezing right now. We came from Bali to come to this. Why couldn't we come here? Why couldn't Polaris do this like earlier in September so that I could have came, done this? Well, I was a little bit warmer here still, maybe like 10 degrees warmer, and then we could have went to Sydney, Australia, Bali. And I wasted that week going out to freaking PA. I mean, pretty much it did work out at the end for Anthony.
Yeah.
To get to watch him, but to go out there and delay the start of my vacation for my brothers was just a pain in the ass because neither one of them fought. They both missed weight, and it was just kind of a shit embarrassment.
Shit show.
But yeah. Other than that, guys, I hope you're ready for a Saturday. Make sure you guys tune in Polaris 25 on UFC Fight Pass. Bring in the funk, some Funk Harbor, sponsored by Nerd Focus as well. Thank you guys for always tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button. I'll see you guys soon. And maybe we'll make a 2024 return at a new weight class. Or maybe, just maybe, Uncle Dana comes to his senses and gives his boy that rematch. Or give it to Marab. Thank you guys. Peace.